John, you provide us with a study about how technologies will influence education in the next 10 years. Please tell us what is the outcome of the study. Tell us about some conclusions.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to frame that this study is the first part of two parts. So this first part takes a global view, looking at trends, which is kind of cool because just asked to study what's going on in the world and describe it. And the second part, which is the next step, is going to be, so what are the local implications? Now, in the first part, which we just concluded, we analyzed almost 1,200 academic articles on disruptive innovations or disruptive technologies in education. And I think what we found was so many of the usual suspects we hear a lot in the news, right? We've got blockchain. People write about blockchain. We've got artificial intelligence. We've got augmented reality. We've got the metaverse, for example. The really interesting thing, though, is that what we've really revealed is that there's this disconnect between what's happening in society broadly, in society, in the economy, in other sectors, and what's happening in education and education policy. So education policy seems to be very separate and maybe not even recognizing many of these changes that are happening broadly.
Do you think that the education left behind in some terms in this world?
You know, we could have had this conversation 20 years ago and the answer would have been the same. We could have had this conversation 30 years ago, the answer would have been the same. Yeah, education's left behind. So education systems just can't figure out what to do with this sort of change. They're tooled for the industrial paradigm and just teaching the same old stuff the same old way, pretty much, right? This is the 19th century industrial, putting kids in boxes, lining them up, and teaching them what is truth, and everything that they need to do just to be smart enough to operate machines at factories. In the meanwhile, we've had several industrial revolutions since, and the world is becoming a whole lot more interesting. And what we're really facing is a crisis where the workforce that we're preparing is not relevant for society.
So what to do with this problem? What is your best opinion?
You know, I don't think there's one single way to do things. The phase 2 of the study is going to look at policy recommendations for things that we could do in Prague at the regional level. And the way that we're approaching this is that we're engaging communities in conversation. So we have a conversation between the two of us, we've got the production crew here, and see what's important for us and being able to record that, and then also take these conversations throughout the city. And then going in and through qualitative data analysis, go in and find patterns that come in that really form policy recommendations for what the community thinks is important. And I think really importantly answering the question, you know, can we come together as a community to meet these challenges, or to even lead ahead or leapfrog ahead of these challenges to build the future?
So if I got it right, you expect that this conversation will inflict some changes in education process, in the training of teachers, in the recruitment of teachers, in the partnership between the stakeholders in education, and so on and so on.
You know, it certainly could, but that's a choice that the city and city administration would need to take on and really commit to. We're bringing together the voices, and we're going to come up with a comprehensive policy vision, I hope, that helps lead towards the future. And it's really up to leaders to decide if and how we can implement it. And it is a really complex formula to happen. And I think that the two things that we really need to do, I mean, this is my perspective, we'll see what emerges from the community, but I think that we really need to build more trust within the community, within schools, the education systems, and also with kids and within learning. And I think we also need to attend towards curiosity. We talk a lot about soft skills, for example, like entrepreneurship or computational thinking or being a good person. But I think that the most important soft skill is really curiosity. And how do we create a culture that's continuously curious? We've got kids that are continuously curious. We have adults that are continuously curious. Because if we're not curious, we have no chance of changing or adapting to the future, which is evolving with or without us, right? And so that's a big challenge for us. And it's how do we remain curious?
Thank you.
Thank you.